Narrator: slow, tense. Some mysteries fade with time, but others, they get darker, stranger, and far more unsettling the longer you stare at them. Tonight, we unravel one of Florida's oldest unsolved homicides. A case buried for decades, a victim forgotten by the system, and a truth that still hides in the shadows. This is the story of James Norris, the man who flew to Florida for a simple 2-day trip and never returned. Narrator: on October 3, 1974, 32-year-old James Norris stepped onto a flight leaving San Francisco International Airport. No drama, no enemies, no criminal past. Just a quiet, disciplined former Marine who told friends he was handling a quick business deal. He packed light. He planned to return within 48 hours. But when his return flight lifted off 2 days later, James wasn't on it, and no one could explain why. Narrator: when James landed at Miami International Airport, witnesses confirmed. He picked up his luggage. He walked out of the terminal. He disappeared into the humid fall air. But after that moment, there was nothing. No hotel records, no business contacts, no rental car, no calls, not even a receipt for a cup of coffee. It was as if James Norris walked out of the airport and off the map. His family reported him missing, but California and Florida law enforcement couldn't connect the dots. No one imagined he was already dead. Narrator: 3 months later, in December 1974, a farmer in rural Dixie County noticed scavengers circling his land. At first, he assumed it was just an animal kill. But scattered across the clearing, deputies found a boot, a torn shirt, a wallet, and human remains half buried in the dirt. No ID, no clues, just bones in a field miles from civilization. The case was logged as John Doe homicide. No connection was made to the missing man from California. The file went cold. Cold enough to freeze for almost 20 years. Narrator: fast forward to 1993. DNA technology, brand new at the time, matched the John Doe to James Norris. After nearly 2 decades of searching, his family finally had an answer. But the answer came with a deeper, darker question. What happened to him? And why was his body found 200 miles from Miami? Narrator: when FDLE reopened the case, investigators uncovered something chilling. James never made it to a business meeting or hotel, but he did make it to an address in Miami, a house already linked to drug trafficking, counterfeit operations, organized crime, and more than one mysterious disappearance. It appeared James walked into a situation he didn't understand. Maybe he thought it was a routine investment meeting. Maybe he trusted someone he shouldn't have. Or maybe he saw something he wasn't meant to. Narrator: FDLE discovered that James's body wasn't dumped near Miami. He was transported hours north, into remote Dixie County. That detail changed everything. A crime this elaborate required multiple people, vehicles, secluded locations, and a coordinated plan. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This wasn't an accident. This was a kidnapping, a murder, and a cover-up involving more than one person. Chapter 7. The investigator who wouldn't let go. Narrator: years passed. Detectives retired. Files aged, yellowed, and cracked. But one sheriff, decades after the crime, refused to let the mystery die. He traveled across Florida, re-interviewed witnesses, contacted retired officers, tracked down the Norris family in California, sent old evidence for new forensic testing, and reopened leads that had been dead for 40 years. Even then, there were still people who wouldn't talk, people who mysteriously vanished, people who forgot things they once said, and a handful of names that kept coming up again and again. Narrator: the leading theory? James stumbled into a criminal operation he didn't understand. Either he trusted the wrong person, he was set up, or he walked into a trap designed long before he ever left California. What he witnessed or threatened cost him his life. His final hours suggest he was subdued, moved, and ultimately killed by multiple individuals. People who knew how to make a body disappear. People who had done it before. Chapter 9. The Eerie Silence. Narrator, half a century has passed. But the Norris case refuses to stay buried. Because every few years something strange happens. An anonymous tip arrives. A name resurfaces. A former associate suddenly leaves town. Or someone calls the sheriff's office and hangs up as soon as the detective answers. It's as if someone or several someones are still alive, still watching, still afraid that the truth may finally come out. Narrator, James's family is elderly now. Most of his siblings have passed away without answers. But one message remains. They want the truth. They want justice. And they want James to be more than a forgotten name in a cold case drawer. FDLE still believes people with information are alive today. People who, for reasons they've carried for decades, have chosen silence. But silence doesn't last forever. Narrator, slow, haunting James Norris walked into Florida alive and left only his bones in a field. No motive, no confession, no final witness. Just a question that has lingered through 5 decades. Who killed James Norris, and why did they fear him so much? If you have information about this case, contact the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. And if you want more deep-dive true crime stories, subscribe, because some mysteries deserve to be remembered.